Past the hour on Studio B, in the global cat and mouse game to catch Ed Snowden has taken some major turns today. Weeks after the government surveillance leaker left his home, his job, his girlfriend in Hawaii for Hong Kong, officials there let him escape yesterday to Moscow. Russia doesn't have an extradition agreement with the United States. Officials in Moscow are reportedly reviewing a request by the United States to expel Ed Snowden before he leaves the country. So where he goes next is still very much an open question. And the founder of Wikileaks, that Julian Assange, said Snowden had applied for asylum in Ecuador, Iceland, and possibly other countries. Well, yesterday, Russian state media reported that he had planned to catch a flight on the Russian airline Aeroflot, which would take him to Cuba en route to Venezuela. But this morning, that flight took off from Russia, and there's the seat that he would have occupied. Snowden was nowhere to be seen on board. And Aeroflot officials said Snowden booked this seat 17A. You can see it's empty. It was full of journalists who were probably quite displeased. Keep in mind, if Ecuador does take him in, this would be just the latest blow to the United States. Ecuador is still giving asylum to Julian Assange and its embassy in London. But at the same time that it reaches out to Wikileaks, its government recently passed a law cracking down on the freedoms of their own press, a move that the United Nations criticized. So Julian Assange says Ed Snowden is safe for now, and the White House says its assumption is that the suspect is still in Russia. Its assumption. But this marks just the latest challenge for the United States government, which filed criminal charges, espionage charges, against Ed Snowden more than a week ago. We first learned about those charges on Friday. So let's get to Catherine Herridge for an update on what's happening. We're learning more about who may be traveling with Ed Snowden.
That's right, Shep. NSA leaker Edward Snowden is traveling with a British activist described in British media reports as a former girlfriend of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. And in that 90-minute conference call this morning with reporters, Assange said Sarah Harrison and Snowden are good, feeling comfortable, and their situation is under control without offering specifics on their location or security.
Both are healthy and safe, and they are in contact with their legal team.
Assange, who's living at London's Ecuadorian Embassy to avoid extradition to Sweden on sex charges, says Ecuador gave Snowden a so-called asylum document so he can still travel.
You know, I'm not familiar with the Ecuadorian legal system and with what travel documents they may have or under what grounds they would do it.
So this has allowed Snowden to travel, given the fact that the U.S. pulled his passport at least a couple of days ago, Shepard.
And, Catherine, there's now this new report that Ed Snowden had deliberately targeted his bosses at the contractor Booz Allen Hamilton.
Well, that's right. A spokesman for the nation's intelligence chief, the director of national intelligence, James Clapper, confirming to Fox that they believe NSA leaker Edward Snowden has more documents and plans more leaks. A former intelligence official saying that it's believed the records Snowden took are, quote, voluminous and extend well beyond classified material held by the NSA. Neither Snowden's former employer, Booz Allen Hamilton, nor the State Department would comment on a report by the South China Morning News that claims the 30-year-old specifically targeted that systems administrator job to steal classified information. Today, we asked Julian Assange on that conference call whether Snowden had been debriefed by the Russians and by the Chinese, and he says he hasn't talked to either of them, offering them any intelligence, Shep.
All right, Catherine, thank you.